Hey, so today I'm gonna do a full review for the can grinder I'm using. This is the Timemore Nano from a coffee company in China. So I'm gonna talk about the goods and bads and some recommendations. And at the end I'm gonna do a grind comparison. So please watch the whole video. And this is the manual. So you want to know what parts are built inside. And also, please read about this page on the left. It gives you recommendation on how many steps for brewing different types of coffee. And also, you should not be using the grinder from steps 0 to 6 because it's gonna hurt the grinder. And this is the little brush. It comes with the package to clean your burrs. And this is the grinder. It looks pretty cool, and it's built from good material. It feels very solid. And inside, as you can see, there is the Burrs set, the inner piece and the outer piece, and the handle, which is attached with the lid. If you pop the handle up, the metal piece, the magnetic piece, it's gonna slide in and lock the handle, so you can grind your coffee. So on the bottom, there is the container, which is you can screw it up and down, and it holds about a maximum of 17 grams of coffee. So here is the step adjustment at the bottom. So you want to turn it clockwise if you want to make the ground finer, and anti-clockwise if you want to make your ground coarser. But you want to put your lid on if you want to adjust your grind setting, because it's gonna turn the whole thing if you don't put it on. So I'm putting it on, and I'm gonna hold it firmly so it doesn't move, and then I can adjust my steps. So now I'm gonna turn the whole thing, let the whole thing out, and by turning it counterclockwise all the way through. It's a total of from 0 to 76 steps if you want to turn the whole thing out. So remember that figure. I'm not sure it's the same for you, but just remember how many steps. So these pieces are for turning, for adjusting the steps, and then here comes the burrs, the inner burr. You should remember your order, right? So, but it's only a few parts, so it's very simple. So this is the spring, and I'm gonna take the shaft out, and there's a little spacer between the bearing and the spring. So that's all. It's very simple. I'm gonna show how to put it back together later. So inside you can see the outer burrs, which is fixed on the grinder body and the bearing. So there's a thing I've discovered when I'm cleaning my grinder. I'm gonna show you just right now. It kind of disappoints me, by the way. Now, as you can see, when I'm turning the grinder, if you look closely at the outer burrs, it's not turning concentrically. Yeah, it moves left and right. So it kind of, I think the problem is the alignment problem. The outer burrs is not perfectly aligned in the center with the bearing. So it causes it to move left and right. So it will cause some problems. So this is the clearance. If you adjust it, the grinder coarser, it's gonna give you a larger clearance, so larger coffee ground can go through. But if you gonna turn it all the way to espresso range, the misalignment will cause some problems. The burrs are gonna be in touch with each other. So normally you're gonna see this when the burrs are not touching, it's gonna be very smooth. And then what I'm gonna show you is the problem I'm just talking about. So I'm gonna turn it all the way to 0, which is when you at the point you can't turn anymore to clockwise. Then I'm gonna start to turn counterclockwise again. I'm gonna turn 8 steps from 0. So this is within the espresso range. So normally, if it works perfectly, the grinder should be perfectly smooth again. It should not be touching with each other. But look at this. it's not turning smoothly. It can't move if it stops moving right away if I do not put the pressure on it. So a little bit of disappointment, and it also proves some bad quality control. But we're gonna see how it performs, right? At the end, I'm gonna do a grind comparison, the grind size comparison. So if everything works fine, it should be turning smoothly like this, right? So I'm just gonna take the piece out and let you see the inner burrs. Now, if you look closely at the bottom, there's a little line. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it shows you the like there's some imprint on it, because my inner burr is in contact with the outer burr. And I'm using 8 steps. I've never used my grinder in the 0 to 6 steps, which it recommends not using, but it's still gonna give me some contact. So I don't know why. Maybe others are better. Only my grinder's problem. So I'm just gonna put it back together. So just the spacer, the spring, the inner burrs, and the step adjustment pieces, and just gonna push it to retract the spring, and then you can screw it back all together nicely if you turn clockwise. Just get the alignments right, and then turn clockwise all the way. Then it's gonna be if everything is put together correctly, it's gonna turn freely like now. So let's do something interesting. I'm gonna show you the grind size comparison. I'm gonna weight 5 grams for each settings I've written down, from 0 to the steps I've written down. So first, I'm gonna do step number 8. This is the espresso range. And also from the left bottom corner, you can see how much time it took me to grind the 5 grams. So in espresso, size number 8, it took me 50 seconds around. I don't recommend using, if you have the issue like I have for my grinder. I'm not recommending it to use espresso that often, because you're actually hurting your burrs, right? They're in contact with each other. So in the next, I'm gonna do 12, which is in the pour over coffee range, the medium fine setting. So it took me 22 seconds, a much faster time. And then just gonna repeat all over until I reach 24, which is the French press range according to the recommendation. So 17 seconds. So actually, I like this grinder actually, even though with the misalignment problem. As you can see later, it gives me a very consistent grind size. So I'm wondering if every grinder have this little issues. I'm not sure, but I think they definitely can do it better to make it perfectly aligned. So this is the last setting for French press, and it took me 15 seconds. So here I'm gonna show a close shot for different settings. Now, as you can see, they are very consistent, even though with the alignment issue. So it's very surprising. But I think if you want to buy this grinder, you can take a look at the alignment issue I'm talking about and see if it has this issue. So I think as you can see, it's very consistent all the way from espresso to pour over. And for the last French press, it's a little bit inconsistent. You can see some big chunks and some small size, but I think it's acceptable. So that's it.